Chat. Oh, what a weekend. Just when you think we're done, we're not. All right. Hope y'all had a good weekend. Um, verdict came out on Friday. And of course, YouTube. You guys know I long stroke. Like we were here for a very long time. 13 hours, almost 14 hours on Friday. Watch the verdict come on in. Watch the proceedings for the day. Watch Alicia take the stand. So many crazy things happened. And so the verdict footage that we had from Friday cut off, and that was fine. I did like a little video on Saturday. We put it out and I explained what her potential time could look like. We got to talk about Jeremy. We got to talk about Jeremy. Where do y'all want to start? So there's a little squabble on the internet right now. And it is alleged, but let's look at it. And then I'm going to go to a motion that he filed on Friday. None of us knew that this motion was filed. The motion is to disqualify the judge and Judge Sisco. I heard it was denied, but I'm still going to show it to you because it's interesting, to say the very least. Now, here we go. Let's go to Instagram. Alicia Andrews' lawyer shares Young and Ace's song after winning a case against the state. Let me repeat that. Alicia Andrews' lawyer shares Young and Ace's song after winning a case against the state. All right, here's how we know this. Mama Foolio posted something on her story, and again, I sent her a message on Saturday, and I was just like, hey, there's a lot of support for your son. Really sorry for your loss. Me and my chat watched the entire trial. Tons of support for you. Prayers up, all of that stuff. And by the way, I'm sure you're getting hammered right now, but if you ever want to come and speak out on what's happening post the verdict, please feel free. Like you can come to my channel, all of that, right? So she didn't respond. I didn't expect her to. I'm sure she's getting interview requests left and right. So I started following her. And then I saw her post this story last night, and she's not happy. Like if Jeremy did this is really not okay. So I'm going to keep it on mute, but apparently Slick J is Jeremy's Instagram, and he played a Young and Ace song or put that on his Instagram. I don't know if this was on Saturday. I don't know if this was on Friday night, but if this is the case, not cool, right? But we are not here to talk about that. Because again, with independent media, you have to fact check everything. This came from a Florida account that follows drill rap, things like that. I don't know if Jeremy's account got hacked. I hope. I hope not. But the mom posted something and she's just like, hey, as a black attorney, this is unprofessional and it's not cool. So we're going to pray that Jeremy did not, in fact, post that. I checked his alleged account, if it's a real account, and it was not posted. So it would have had to been Saturday because it wasn't up Sunday. Like he was here. We were all watching it. You had no time to post anything on Friday. So it would have had to been Saturday. And on Instagram, everything goes away for 24 hours. So it wasn't up yesterday. So it could be, and that's the thing. We live in a world of AI. That's why I don't want to focus on that too much. What I do want to focus on, this is verified. I was able to verify this, is this joint. He filed this on Friday. None of us knew this. None of us knew this. Okay? This was filed by Jeremy on Friday while we were all in court. Now, again, he was arguing for a majority of the day, so it probably was already drafted, Okay. Now let's look at this together because it's a little crazy. And again, I did verify, at least with court records, that this document is absolutely real. Like it's real. And it kind of has to do with y'all. Not this chat, but internet chats when we watch trials. Okay. What is it? This is a motion to disqualify Judge Sisco. Okay. To disqualify Judge Sisco, get her off of the case, get her off of sentencing, all of that. Now, let's look at it. And I'm telling y'all, we're going to be in and out in less than an hour. Just strap in. It's a pretty brief document, but I want you guys to see what it says. So, again, not a rumor mill, legal channel, legal facts. This has been verified as filed on Friday. Now, some people are like, yeah, listen, the judge was not fair. Like she was making some rulings that just seemed very harsh. Fine. I want you to look at, we're going to look at it together. We're going to look at what Jeremy put in this document as proof that she was not being fair with some of the rulings. Now, typically you would expect case law and things like that. Little bit of that in here. Why we got cell phone screenshots? I mean, we got screenshots from Law and Crimes chat. We got screenshots from Law and Crimes chat of y'all chatters that are saying that the judge was not being fair, and that was the evidence he used. I kid you not. Who? Keyshawn. I'm telling you, Keyshawn. We're gonna look at the screenshots together. I'm not. It's all here. We're gonna look at it together. I could not believe this when I saw it yesterday. I said, "Man, I can't wait to tell my chat in the morning." I'm gonna show you, Carrie. I'm not lying. We're gonna look at it together. Okay, here we go. Let's read it from the top. All right, chat, here we go. Verified motion to disqualify presiding judge. The defendant, Alicia Andrews, by and through underside counsel, pursuant to Florida Statute 3810 and the rules of judicial administration, hereby files this motion to disqualify the presiding judge, Judge Sisco, and in support thereof states the following. Defendant Alicia Andrews respectfully moves to disqualify the Honorable Michelle Sisco from presiding over this matter on grounds that her conduct and statements have created a well-founded fear that Ms. Andrews cannot receive a fair and impartial trial. Now, here's the thing, guys. We have the stamp up top in Atlanta, in Georgia, and also in Massachusetts, where I have experience pulling legal documents, things of the like. You typically have a timestamp. When we covered the YSL trial last year, whenever documents were filed, we had a timestamp. It could be 10 p.m. It could be 6 a.m. It could be in the middle of court at 2 p.m. The lawyers are still in the room. We're still watching, but their teams are at the law firm still filing things. Or maybe it's when the clerk or court, not reporter, but the clerk officially puts it into the system. I don't know what time this was filed on Friday, but all we have is the clerk of the circuit court. So this is no longer on Judge Sisco's level. They went to the circuit court. So Jeremy's team went above. All right. Now we were all here because y'all were here with me until 10:30 at night. So I was like, when was this filed? So that's the other question. Let's keep reading. Okay. So they filed it. So they start off by saying they didn't feel that she could have received a fair trial. Ms. Andrews stands accused of first-degree murder and conspiracy in connection with the alleged ambush killing of Jacksonville rapper Julio Foolio Jones. And that's the other thing. Who wrote this? Use his real name. Rapper Julio Foolio Jones. It should say Charles Jones. Maybe you put in parentheses Julio Foolio. So I'm already seeing that this was either made in a rush or like it's not written well. Throughout the proceedings, Judge Sisco has exhibited overt hostility towards the defense, repeatedly interrupting counsel, refusing sidebars, and visibly prompting the prosecution during witness examinations. Moreover, her public assurances to the jury that it would receive the case for deliberation by a specific date demonstrate a predetermined timetable inconsistent with judicial neutrality. These actions, viewed cumulatively, give rise to an objective, reasonable fear that Judge Sisco has abandoned her role as an impartial arbiter, requiring disqualification under the rule of general practice and judicial administration 2.330. So this gives me, just reading it legally, this gives me some indication that they might have started writing this the day before Friday, Thursday, right? Doesn't mean it's going to be granted again. I heard this was denied. Okay. But we have verified, my team has verified that it was filed and we pulled it from the reputable source here, right? So we know that it was indeed filed. Okay. So let's see what else they say. Here's their statement of facts. So that's the introduction to this motion to disqualify Judge Sisco. My anticipation, or my guess, is that they wrote it or at least attempted to file it Thursday night. Statement of facts. 1. Conduct at the outset of trial. From voir dire, Judge Sisco has demonstrated bias against the defense when she, through denying defense it should be past tense, caused challenges. It says caused challenges. That's how I think, this is why I think that they filed this they attempted to file it on Thursday and they did it late, because you have past tense and present tense. When you say the defense causes challenges or cause challenge, that means it's like present state. This should say caused in past tense, but it doesn't say that. Beyond a reasonable doubt that certain potential jurors could be fair and impartial, impaneled an almost all-white jury. Oh my God, now we know, chat. They're saying that this was an almost all-white jury. Let's keep going. Though Judge Sisco was aware that prosecutors in the case intended to introduce drill rap music and drill rap lyrics to the jury, Judge Sisco further demonstrated bias. See, they do it here. They add the ED, demonstrated bias, by denying defense counsel cause challenges based on potential jurors' expressed inability to understand rap music and rap lyrics. During opening statements, Judge Sisco permitted the prosecution to raise prejudicial and irrelevant collateral matters with the jury and permitted the prosecution to show the jury images of several unrelated guns over defense counsel's numerous objections based on relevance. For over an hour of opening statements from the prosecution, defense raised objections to the prosecution's opening statements based on relevance, argument, and the cumulative nature of the prosecution's opening. At sidebar, defense counsel argued that the cumulative nature of the prosecution's statements to Judge Sisco reminded Judge Sisco that she instructed counsel that each had 1 hour to present opening statements. Judge Sisco quipped that she did not give that instruction, to which defense counsel responded that Judge Sisco not only gave that instruction, but laughed at defense counsel, which is supported by video evidence. When defense counsel in an earlier hearing inquired whether there was a time limit for opening statements, this is written very badly. Judge Sisco overruled defense counsel's objection and permitted the prosecution to continue for nearly a half hour more. Okay, so they're complaining that they're complaining about opening statements. They're complaining about the makeup of the jury. They're complaining about the sidebar, but also just this last sentence is written. These last two sentences are written very strangely. So again, it is verifiably filed, but this indicates to me that this was done in a rush, right? This is definitely done in a rush. Let's go to the next page. This ultimately became the precursor for what would become a trial defending Miss Andrews' character based on her connection and proximity to individuals not even charged in the murder of Charles Jones. What? Okay, let's go to their next section. The judge's conduct during examination of the witnesses. During Detective Nader's redirect examination, after the detective testified that he had not reviewed certain iCloud messages, the state questioned him further on that very topic. When defense counsel sought to object and request a sidebar, Judge Sisco refused both the objection and the sidebar request in front of the jury, and further denied any opportunity for recross on the issue. Y'all remember that? I know you do. Effectively eliminating the defense's opportunity to preserve the legal issue. During this same witness testimony, Judge Sisco, in front of the jury, suggested that the state should have an objection to defense introducing the evidence during their case in chief. While the state did not, the impression upon the jury and the public at large was that the defense was attempting to do something improper. Similarly, during the cross-examination of Officer Debrek on October 27, Judge Sisco's demeanor towards the defense was openly dismissive and suggestive of bias. When defense counsel, Mr. Jeremy, why is he talking about himself in the third person? Mr. Jeremy asked, "What relevance does the picture have to this case?" The court displayed visible annoyance, looked at the state, and shook her head rapidly from side to side, appearing to prompt the prosecution to object. Minutes later, when Jeremy commented that the data took a long time to download, the judge removed her glasses, displayed visible irritation, and replaced them only after the questioning continued. Jesus Christ. Let us continue. On the same day, during Miss White's cross-examination of Detective Nader, the court told her to wrap up her questioning, an instruction the court has never directed towards the state during its often lengthy examinations. Judge Sisco has continued to limit the defense's ability for thorough cross-examination and to put on its own case throughout trial. All right, hold up. I think now we have to put a poll up, all right? Because I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys. A few of you guys were saying that hold on. A few of you guys are like, oh, I'm sensing some bias. I want to know now that the whole case is done, we've all watched it, we've all seen it. Was Judge Sisco biased towards the defense? Okay. And that is not going to negate whether this is a well-argued document or not, because I'm going to keep it honest with you. I don't think it is. You'll see why once we get to the end of this. But overall, I want to see what you guys think. Do you think she was biased towards the defense? No. I'm going to give you another option that says maybe, but defense wasn't the best. How about that? I'm going to be nice. Was Judge Sisco biased towards the defense? Option A, yes, AV. Option B, no, AV. Option C, maybe, but defense wasn't the best. We're going to be nice. We're going to be nice, right? So I'll let you guys vote it up as I read this, okay? So let's keep going to see what else Jeremy has on here. Section 3, improper courtroom demeanor and unequal treatment. Judge Sisco has also made dismissive and prejudicial remarks in the presence of witnesses and the jury. At one point, she falsely accused defense counsel of making allegations of improper witness behavior in front of a hostile witness, undermining counsel's credibility. Her body language and tone during defense objections have reflected irritation, impatience, and at times even anger, while her treatment of the prosecution has remained differential and uncritical. On October 28th, during cross-examination of the state's witness, Ms. Amara Drew, the prosecution made several baseless objections to relevant questions about the safety mechanism on a rifle. The court sustained all objections without requiring legal grounds and became visibly frustrated when defense counsel sought to articulate a basis of relevance. Despite repeated requests for a sidebar to avoid further discussion before the jury, the court refused twice with evident disdain. During this exchange, the state repeatedly raised its voice and spoke over defense counsel in an aggressive and unprofessional tone, yet the court took no corrective action. That's right. The male prosecutor, we saw that. He was really rude, and the judge shouldn't do much to correct that behavior. So I agree with that part, 100%. Like, we all watched that. Let's keep going. Predetermination and promises to the jury. On October 29th, before the defense began its case, before arguments for judgment of acquittal were made, and even before cross-examination of the state's lead detective, Juan Ramos, who testified for 2 days, had begun, Judge Sisco told the jury she would get this case to them before deliberation on Friday, October 31st, 2025. I mean, she did say that. She did. She did say that. And remember what I was telling you guys about the preference between getting a case on a Monday where everybody is fresh and they've had the weekend to think. And I wonder too, I don't know if is Veterans Day this week? Let me double check. It might be next week. When is Veterans Day? Oh, it's next week. I was going to say, I wonder if it had anything to do with Veterans Day. That is me jumping the gun there. It does not have anything to do with Veterans Day. But what is the difference between giving a jury a case on a Friday and giving a jury a case on a Monday? I would have preferred a Monday. People are fresh. They have more time. We could have used all day Friday to get through closing arguments. Yes, it's not preferred that people can think about the closing arguments over the weekend, but you know what? At least you give these people an opportunity to rest, to think, and to come back with a clear mind. They weren't given that. In fact, they deliberated at 6:30 on Friday. They just went right into it, right? Ultimately, Alicia got the lowest tier level of a murder charge, which was manslaughter, and her sentencing is scheduled for December 8th. But that was a very long day for those jury members. Now, in Judge Sisco's defense, she did ask them if they, she kind of told them to get started, but she did ask them around 9:30, 9:45 if they wanted to resume on Monday, and the jury said that they wanted to finish. So let's keep going and see what else we have here. Let's go to the next section. This assurance effectively communicated that the court had predetermined the pace and structure of the trial, irrespective of the defense's right to a full and fair presentation of evidence. Additional incidents demonstrating bias. Later that same day, after Ms. White raised concerns about the state's repeated hostile tone towards the defense, the court entirely disregarded her complaint and moved on without addressing the issue. When she attempted to set the matter on record, Judge Sisco scoffed and remarked, "This entire trial is on record," in a dismissive and sarcastic tone. During rulings concerning the admissibility of the interrogation video, oh, we all remember this, Judge Sisco initially indicated she was inclined to rule in favor of the defense, but allow the state extended time to find supporting case law. After reviewing authorities not directly on point, she deferred ruling until trial, signaling inconsistencies and favoritism towards the prosecution. Additionally, though defense counsel never once raised self-defense, a duress as an affirmative defense, the judge infantilized defense counsel with repeated and impromptu admonitions that duress is not a defense to first-degree murder. She did. When defense counsel has made attempts to address its claims of domestic violence as they relate to this case, the judge smirked, and has generally mocked defense counsel when ruling against defense counsel's arguments and objections. Conduct on October 30th. This was last Thursday. By October 30th, the court's focus on expediting the trial at the expense of the defense became more apparent. At approximately 11:30 a.m., during Jeremy's cross-examination of Detective Ramos, Judge Sisco repeatedly interrupted him and ordered that video evidence be fast-forwarded to accelerate the proceedings, again in front of the jury. She did do that. She did. These interruptions occurred after the judge had publicly promised the jury a verdict by Friday, thereby pressuring the defense to truncate its presentation. Later that same day, when the defense attempted to introduce evidence via a flash drive, a method previously used without issue, the court interrupted Jeremy and suggested in front of the jury that the procedure was improper. I remember this because I was like, is he trying to admit flash drive? But what Jeremy's saying here is she's let me do that before. So interesting. When he explained that the same method had been accepted earlier in the trial, Judge Sisco implied to the state, again in the jury's presence, that the defense's conduct was questionable or irregular, and then ruled that it was admitted under review until the court would assure that there were no additional items on the drive that the jury shouldn't see. The tone in which she spoke suggested that the defense was untrustworthy. Number 7. This is what I was telling you guys about. This is how we, people on YouTube, have gotten involved in this case. Here we go. Public reaction to Judge Sisco's behavior. I'm with him until this section. Because all of those things are verifiable. We all watched it. Here we go. The trial has been live streamed on YouTube. Shout out to us! And numerous members of the public who observed Judge Sisco's conduct expressed serious concern about her impartiality and demeanor. The reactions captured contemporaneously in the live YouTube chat demonstrate a clear and consistent perception that Judge Sisco exhibited bias against the defense and hostility towards defense counsel. This public commentary provides independent, real-time corroboration of the defense's position that Judge Sisco's behavior created an objective appearance of partiality and violation of the standards of judicial neutrality and decorum. Observers, that means y'all, repeatedly remarked that Judge Sisco, one, displayed overt hostility towards the defense and its counsel. Two, allowed prosecutorial latitude not afforded to the defense. Three, appeared to have prejudged the case and made up her mind before hearing all the evidence. And four, laughed or behaved dismissively while the defense attempted to make arguments or present its case. The public's consensus, expressed through hundreds of real-time comments, was that the proceeding did not appear fair and that the presiding judge failed to maintain neutrality expected of the judiciary. See below. They done used us as evidence, Chad. Look, I mean, this came from Law and Crime. Let's look at the table. There are examples of what y'all have mentioned in the Law and Crime chat, not my chat. Not my chat, goddammit. Because I'll be in that courtroom. You're not going to use my chat. But let's look at what they took from the Law and Crime chat. And I thought this was so interesting because I wanted to show you guys how trial watching is changing. I mean, I did say, this is why I poll y'all. I try to do this ethically and understandably and fairly. But like, y'all are now pulling comments from people across the country and across the world. Let's see what it says here. Representative comments from the public. And here's what they put it in a column. They put it in a table. 3 columns. 1, the theme, representative public comment, and the username. They put y'all in this joint. That's not right. Okay, court of public opinion. This is what's happening now. Let me read. First theme, direct accusations of bias. 3 examples that they gave. This judge is a mess and literally cannot hide her bias. Next, this judge is biased AF. This judge hates the defense. He put the usernames. Jeremy, don't do that. Stop getting people in trouble. So some of y'all are like, accountability. Let's keep going. What else? What other Chatterhood username? What else y'all say? What else did y'all say that Jeremy put in this? She's allowing the prosecution to do and say whatever they want. The judge's mind has been made up. Defense should ask for a different judge. This is not a fair trial. Next section, hostility or rudeness. The judge is rude. The judge is nasty towards the defense. Judge doesn't like the defense. She is laughing. This is not a fair trial. Now, I've been doing this work since Amber Heard and Johnny Depp days. I've done it with so many other lawyers, actual attorneys in lawsuit. I've watched multiple trials. We did on multiple channels, in panels, all of this. I have never seen y'all's comments in a legal document. Pulling Law and Crime comments and putting it there. But I'm not even going to hold you. Some of y'all here said the same shit. So, I mean, you said, I read it and I was like, this is the same theme. But who had time to do that, Keyshawn? The usernames? They went and got y'all's usernames and your IP addresses. They were like, let's get all those people chatting on YouTube, talking shit about the case. Let's put them in this legal document without their consent. Doesn't matter. Maybe it violates YouTube's terms of service. But okay. Anyway, let's go back in and see what other things that we have here. I can't see. That's the thing. I just, using the usernames, I think was a little bit tough. Next, calls for recusal and sanctions. They need to file a motion against this judge. Next one, they're going to ask for appeal because of this judge. And that's exactly what Jeremy did. The breadth and consistency of these independent comments by viewers with no direct stake in the outcome underscore a public perception that Judge Sisco's conduct demonstrated partiality. See Exhibit A, the public's reaction to Judge Sisco's behavior. Such perception, even if unintentional, erodes public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary, warranting recusal and renewed reconsideration of the proceedings to ensure fundamental fairness. Warranting recusal, that's number one. Renewed consideration of the proceedings, to ensure fundamental fairness. What is the legal standard? What law are we using here? Where a party feels the judge presiding over his case cannot render a fair ruling, that party is permitted to have a new judge preside over the case. Now, see, this was on the last day that this document was filed, right? It's very late in the game, but let's keep going. A motion to disqualify need only show that the party making it has a well-grounded fear that he will not receive a fair trial at the hands of the judge. It has long been said in the courts of this state that every litigant is entitled to nothing less than the cold neutrality of an impartial judge. Due process requires that a judge possess neither actual nor perceived bias. The question of disqualification focuses on those matters from which a litigant may reasonably question a judge's impartiality rather than the judge's perception of his own ability to act fairly and impartially. The disqualification rules are designed to keep the courts free from bias and prejudice. As in the Jacoboni court stated, this court has observed that the disqualification statute and rules are designed to ensure confidence in the judicial system, as well as to prevent the disqualification process from being abused for the purposes of judge shopping, delay, or some other reason not related to providing the fairness and impartiality of the proceeding. Therefore, the rules permit trial courts to conduct only a bare determination of legal insufficiency in order to prevent an adversarial atmosphere from developing between judge and litigation. So then they pull the Florida statute. In considering an initial motion to disqualify, the trial court shall determine only legal sufficiency and motion shall not pass through the truth or of the facts alleged. If the attested facts support the suggestion are reasonably sufficient, blah, 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 pursuant to Rule 2.300, if the motion is sufficient, the judge shall immediately enter an order granting disqualification and proceed no further in the action. All right, here's his argument. He goes on a little bit more, and then we go into screenshots of what happens. Now, I just want to glance over here at the other monitor and see where y'all are with the poll. I asked you, and if you haven't voted, please vote. If you haven't hit the like button, this is an unplanned live stream, but I needed to come on and show this for y'all, to y'all. Was Judge Sisco biased towards the defense? 54% of you now say yes, AV. 26% of you guys say no, and 21% of y'all are like maybe, but the defense wasn't the best. Okay. Judge Sisco's repeated displays of visible irritation, sarcasm, and dismissive behavior towards the defense counsel, while simultaneously accommodating the prosecution, constitute an appearance of bias that any reasonable observer should perceive as prejudicial. Specifically, the record reflects that Judge Sisco, 1, refused defense objection and sidebar requests in the presence of the jury. Well, did she do that, chat? Yes or no? 2, shook her head towards the state during defense questioning, appearing to prompt an objection. Did she do that, chat? 3, directed defense to wrap up cross-examinations. Did she do that, chat? A restriction never imposed on the prosecution. Did Judge Sisco bring the wrap it up box to court. Did she do it? Did she say, Jeremy, Jeremy, wrap it up? Did she do that, chat? Let's keep going. 4, responded sarcastically to defense concerns, stating, this entire trial is on record in open court. I think she said it to the woman. 5, unnecessarily providing assistance to the prosecution and impeding a full and thorough examination by the defense. 6, claiming that defense counsel has misrepresented certain facts, law, or simply acting unprofessional. I do remember her throwing around the word unprofessional a few times. This pattern of conduct demonstrates clear partiality and ridicule. Ooh, not ridicule. Towards defense counsel, behavior that Florida courts have consistently recognized as sufficient to warrant recusal. They give us a few examples from different cases, so I'm going to skip that. Florida law is equally clear that a judge may not enter the fray by offering tips or legal advice to the other side. Oh no, Jeremy. Did she do that, chat? These principles apply with even greater force here, where Judge Sisco's dismissive and adversarial conduct occurred in front of the jury and in the presence of Ms. Andrews, thereby amplifying the appearance of judicial partiality. Next section, cumulative conduct and public perception confirming partiality. Even if any single instance might be excused as impatience or poor temperament, the effect of Judge Sisco's behavior combined with the overwhelming public reaction establishes an objective appearance of bias. Well, see, he says overwhelming public perception. This is why I needed to have you guys vote. Was it overwhelming? I mean, it was noticeable. It was noticeable. But also, do you get a fair trial if somebody's trying to rush it through and say, you only get this amount of time? Hey, jury, I'm going to get this to you by Friday. We're all going to be done on Friday. But then she also, I pointed this out, she also had them get started on Friday, which I thought was super peculiar. It was just odd. You don't see that every day, right? So, I mean, you know, some of y'all were like, nah, Evie, it happens in my state. I see it all the time, like Friday night verdicts. Even Kathy, I think I think the executive producer at Law and Crime was like, we're doing this on a Friday, and they do trials every day. I mean, so a lot of people thought it was a bit strange. So, although I do not, if it's true, I do not agree with Jeremy putting up a Young and A song. If he did it, that was crossing the line. I don't think that was cool. Just professionally, as an attorney, we still have to, even if we support our clients, that was, if that's real and not AI, I hope he didn't do that, right? But from what I'm reading here, I don't know, court of public opinion. I mean, I'm seeing a few people come in and they're like, she wasn't biased, she was doing her job. But like, look at the majority. Is 55% of an audience overwhelming? Is it? I mean, there was definitely, we noticed it. We noticed it. But let's keep going to see what else he says here. As shown in the attached exhibit, independent observers on the live broadcast, all of y'all, repeatedly described the proceeding as unfair, biased, and hostile towards the defense. Comments such as, this judge is a mess and literally cannot hide her bias. The judge hates the defense. Reflect a public perception that the defense was denied equal treatment. Judicial disqualification is required when the conduct alleged would place a reasonable, prudent person in fear of not receiving a fair and impartial proceeding. The court's visible frustration, hostility towards the defense counsel, and refusal to maintain procedural partiality He spelled that wrong. It says parity. I think it should say partiality, amplified by widespread public commentary, confirming these perceptions collectively meet and exceed the threshold for mandatory disqualification. Notably, at this point, there is no way to ensure that the members of the jury can render a fair and impartial verdict in this case, as neither the prosecution nor the defense questioned the veneer regarding whether they could render a fair and impartial verdict, despite appearances of impropriety, inappropriateness, and bias from the judge. Reading that last part, this is how I know they wrote it on Thursday. But at the end of the day, what happens? If the judge is taken off when a verdict has already been rendered, what do you do? Right? That becomes the question. She's already got a pretty decent situation considering the circumstances of what was on the table. I mean, jail is not fun by any means, by any stretch, right? She didn't get murder 1, she didn't get murder 2, she got manslaughter. Conspiracy was off the table as well. So, with something like that, and you want to do it all over again, you fight it all over again. You do. I mean, you do. So, what does he conclude here? Let's keep going. The record demonstrates that Judge Sisco's conduct, demeanor, and public statements have created a well-founded fear that the defense cannot receive a fair and impartial trial. Her actions during witness examination, statements to the jury, and unequal enforcement of courtroom procedure reflect an appearance of hostility and predetermination inconsistent with the constitutional right to a neutral arbiter. For these reasons, disqualification is not only appropriate, but necessary to preserve the integrity of these proceedings and public confidence in the administration of justice. All right. Now, look who signed it on Friday. Alicia signs it. I, Alicia Andrews, am a named defendant in this action. By my signature below, I acknowledge that I have reviewed and agree with the foregoing motion to disqualify the judge, and that these facts and statements contained therein are true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. I declare under penalty of perjury, pursuant to section 92.525 Florida statute, that the foregoing is true and correct. Alicia signed this on Friday. And I mean, this is a little off topic. I was thinking about this. I was like, is that what Alicia's handwriting looks like? What did the rest of that notebook look like? Like, what was in there? So interesting. And then we have Jeremy signing this, the certificate of service. This is all served on Friday, October 31st. But it was signed there. Now, chat, strap in, because here's where it gets crazy. They have screenshots from Law and Crime. There it is. They took screenshots of y'all. I could not believe that I was reading this document. I scrolled to the back. I saw screenshots from the chat. I was like, y'all are crazy. So Jeremy put these in as exhibits. The Tall Glass says this judge is biased AF. Love T says this is not a fair trial. Esquire, who's likely a lawyer, says this laugh my ass off. This judge is a mess and literally cannot hide her bias. That's an attorney. Could be. That's at least what their username says. Derek says the judge is laughing. This is not a fair trial and the judge cannot get away with this. Wheezy said judge is not making crap up. YSL fat. And see, here's the thing. Whenever somebody has YSL in the Law and Crime chat, I've been doing this for years. Some of y'all will go to those chats and it's highly spammed. It's highly spammed. That's why y'all come over here. Welcome. Like, that's why you come over here and play that over here. The Law and Crime chat is highly spammed. There's not enough moderators. There's like 18,000 people in there. Are we literally looking at this like evidence? So bots, there's bots in that joint as well. There was a bot on my, man, I put something out on Saturday, right? I just wanted for the people that missed it on Friday night. I just wanted to make a quick 10-minute thing for y'all. And I was just like, yeah, here's what happened. Here's the verdict. Here's the time she's looking at. Somebody came in and they're like, have you bought this person's course? And then like 10 other bots were like, yeah, I've bought it too. It was great. I said, we ain't even talking about finances over here. Get out my comment section. Like if I could just go in with a flamethrower in my comment section and just wipe out the bots, that's what I would do. And listen, it's all love. I love the law and crime producers, the people that work there. But the chat is very hard to control. You know, like unless you have thorough moderators and things like that. I mean, you really look at like, because this evidence can include bots. Are we really putting this in a motion? So I know, I understand what he was trying to do was like, okay, let's look at the public sentiment. Fine, because I have said that multiple times. Like, this is why I poll y'all, right? Multiple times. Like, it's a good indicator. But like, I think my chat is much more derived of actual human beings than bots, you know? So it's wild work. It's wild work. But yeah, I mean, and Court TV, this is what they do to combat it. Court TV is, they're like me. They're actually like, they're doing it differently than me. I put subscribers only so I make sure that we have actual subscribers. But Court TV will make you become a member. They're like, nah, y'all are going to pay our people. You are going to pay for their travel. You're going to pay for the camera. You're going to pay our people. You're going to pay for their lunchtime. You're going to pay for their hotel. You are going to pay. All right. So they charge y'all a subscription. We don't do that over here yet. I'm not big time like that yet, you know, but at the same time, I do think it's important. And that's why I protect my chat by putting in little provisions to keep the bots out. You know, that's why we have those rules, those guidelines. Whenever people are out of line, I'm like, get up out that door. Like listen, we got bouncers and they have blue wrenches, okay? So that's what we do over here. But like, that's one of the first questions I have legally is if I'm reading this, okay, we know that there are a lot of issues with these chats. That's me coming from a content creator's perspective too, but also with one that has a legal brain. Right? Half of the time, these people don't know what's going on from the courtroom to what's happening in the live feed. They don't have time to focus on that. The camera's just there. We asked Doug Weinstein, we asked so many attorneys last year that were a part of the YSL trial. I asked almost every single one of them. I said, how did it feel to know that this was live streamed? They're like, oh, you almost forget that the camera's in the room. We don't care. We know it's being live streamed, but that's it. We forget about it. So let's go back to more of the tea here, where Antoinette says the judge ain't worth $1. Oh my God, they put this in a document. The judge ain't worth $1. Oh my word. The judge is nasty towards the defense. The judge is rude. They need to file a motion against this judge. Y'all don't think this judge is biased? Judge don't like the defense. Judge don't like the defense. This judge is terrible. Okay. They got more. They're going to ask for an appeal because of the judge. Judge mind been made up. The defense should ask for a different judge. She does seem kind of biased. The judge hates the defense. They should ask for this judge to be removed. She's not allowing the prosecution to do, and she's allowing the prosecution to do and say whatever they want. And this person says, yeah, you can tell the judge don't like the defense. So they put this in as an exhibit. There's more. Then, so not even a live chat. They got screenshots from the comment section, chat. Look at this. Oh, you cannot make this up. Next one says, the judge is so biased, in my opinion, edited. What did you spell wrong? Next, Laura says, see, the judges are always in bed with the state and DA. And then she went to Cap. She said, because they all share bonds and warrant money. The lawyers, private hired, but that's why judges always on the state side. Laura turned up. She put that in caps, okay? Then look, they got more. The judge is not fair. They opened the thread to see what else people are saying. They're snitching on y'all. The judge is not fair. Definitely biased. She has verbally undressed the defense more than once. Her tone and attitude are disgusting. Imagine your peers as a judge reading this about you. She's treating them the same way the one defense attorney was trying to say prosecutors were treating them. Who's too trapped for TV? I swear to God, I better not see a screenshot of my chat in this document. Okay, too trapped for TV must be a creator. And it says to be behind the scenes, Julio Foolio. The judge has her mind made up. So, okay, this looks like it could be Instagram. And there is over 1,000 comments on this. It says the judge has her mind made up already. Her lawyer doing her job, but the judge just not dumb. They cooked. Okay, this looks like it could be TikTok. All right, so not only do they have YouTube, now we got the tiki-taka. Now we got the tiki-taka. We have the tiki-talk on here. So they got screenshots from TikTok too. Y'all ain't safe. Your comments are not safe. Texas is on here. It says the judge is something else. Shauna Esquire. They're coming for all the attorneys commenting. The judge is so biased and tainted, it's not even funny. She needs to recuse herself. I have little doubt her behavior will influence the jury. New judge, please. What's going on in there? After yesterday, I'm like, whoa, from both sides, that judge is out of control. How embarrassing. So they went to multiple platforms. What I don't like is this, and I guarantee any legal person watching will agree. We create these spaces because you guys like watching courtroom stuff. It's freedom of speech, First Amendment, freedom of expression. When you comment on a platform, although it's indicative of how people are feeling, like you're free to do that on this platform. Like that's why we have it. It's First Amendment. You should have the right to your opinion. I don't like though that whenever you see ESQ, ESQ, that stands short for Esquire, and typically those people are attorneys. You're not going to put Esquire in your name if you're not a lawyer. I mean, like maybe some people do that, but most of the people that do that, they do that with pride in their usernames, and those are likely attorneys. So now you're kind of looking at the freedom of speech, and you guys know I'm protective of you. You're my little community, but like y'all should all have the ability to say whatever you want when we're watching something. At least in my space, it's not, as long as it's not disrespectful, say what you gotta say. But now you're highlighting the lawyers in this joint. Can we be free and just comment as attorneys? Shout out to Shauna. This is so crazy. We got a little bit more. People are like, the judge is out of line. The judge sets the tone of the courtroom, so she has no one to blame but herself. Court with Keisha says exactly they are following her behavior. I don't understand why they won't ask her to recuse herself. She shows extreme bias. So we are now on TikTok. Snow Simmons, the financial goat, says judge is very rude. And so like this is just showing more and more people talking about it. Court with Keisha says she is, and I tried to give her some grace. She's out of grace at this point, unacceptable at this point. I thought it was just me. Like, what's up with this judge? She's got a nasty demeanor. No, it's bad. I try to give them grace. Now we're back in law and crime. Man, look at this, chat. There's more. Come on, Judge. This is funny. She is doing terrible. Judge Savage. She should just plead the fifth. Judge Bias. You ain't the judge, ma'am. Mama in denial. This witness is the worst one yet. Boo-hoo. All right, ass lawyer. Very biased. Hold her in contempt 5 in the morning. Okay, I don't know what all of that is. And they do have it on subscribers only mode. Another screenshot. She came in like everything was so cute. She's really blowing it for Alicia. All that attitude for what? He was throwing up gang signs, Mom. Kids raising kids. So Alicia is a gang associate? Sure. Judge, stop this foolishness. No. The attorney just talked to the witness using a code. All right, I don't know about that screenshot. That doesn't really tell us much. But you could see the time in which it was taken. You see a sidebar. Arrest the mom for perjury, please. Facts. That's how you take the stand. His mom paid for everything. Her whole interpretation is wrong. Wrong. Young and Ace, where? Judge, you suck. I see. Some of these screenshots are not really relevant. I don't know if he was taking it to show that we did a sidebar and you didn't agree with us. That one is a duplicate. Judge is so biased. She was a jouster. They begging for mercy. Then you see Alicia. First thing on the top, she's cooked. Defense rest today, closing tomorrow. Defense attorneys is brilliant. Have you been watching the same trial as everybody else or what? She's going to jail. The only thing worse than life is death. She's going home. Like, see, some of these screenshots are not relevant at all. I'm over this trial. Bring mom back. We need more excitement and laughs. This is when the cell phone guy was up there. Experts should know this. And then this is probably when she yelled at the Spanish lady, Miss Herrera. Okay. So this is like a ton of law and crime stuff. But yeah, guys, I saw this yesterday. I said, are they really showing all of this? And some people in that chat were really coming at Jeremy. They're like, the defense looks defeated. Man, they suck. Free Lil Durk. He is goofy. The lady lawyer didn't like that. Judge hates the defense. Alicia is cooked. Her lawyer stressed. They had Alicia on video going into the hotel before the shooting started. Didn't even know Julio was being shot. Dude wasted $5 on a flash drive for one pic. So I think he was, these are the moments, or at least the timestamps. He didn't capture them correctly. I think that's what they were trying to do. Because not all of these chats reflect everything that was mentioned above. And some of them are repeats. I just can't look at all of this chat. Like, look at how much screenshots they have. This is a 49-page document and only 7 pages of legal words. 49 pages of screenshots from what? Law and crime. Okay, there's more. This judge is a bunch of BS and she's clearly biased. This judge is doing too much. Judge is weird. Judge is doing too much. And you see how they like cut it up and made it bigger? Oh my God. I mean, now y'all know, just stay here. Like, and I'm now put in a disclaimer. Like, if you screenshot my chat, I will sue you. Like, I'm gonna protect y'all. Like, don't screenshot my stuff and put it in documents. Because technically I'm a content owner. Come around and try to screenshot what my chat says. Come try it. Crazy. Anyway. Grounds for an appeal. This case is boring. The judge is so improper. Free smirk. Oh man. The judge been rude. She's supposed to be fair on both sides. Keep going, defense. She will end up with a new trial for this on a technicality later, as soon as she filed an appeal if found guilty. So we have somebody else. The judge is annoyed. Okay, so I see what he was doing here. These are the witnesses that he talked about, and he put them all up. Look at this one. This is when we have those waiting periods when they take the breaks, and it's the seal of the state of Florida. People were just talking. Like, people were just talking. It's so funny. She's based, not biased. The second time the judge yelled, no, I agree with the defense. What does any of this stuff have to do with Alicia? This is a waste of time. I haven't heard not one piece of evidence against her except for some old text messages. Wow, that's really crazy, chat. She just says the guns have no concession to the shooting. Judge doesn't like the defense. Yep, that's one reason the way she's not allowing the defense to proceed legally. Alicia's actually winning, not letting him Timo her anymore. Overruled by Alicia. You head into the big house. Look at the neck size of it. It's okay if she's guilty, but give her a fair trial. Hoo-wee. Yeah, they just screenshotted everything and put it up in here. That's crazy. Your chats are no longer safe, my friends. Just wanted to give you the heads up. There it is. We gonna have to lock mine up or something. We're gonna have to do something different. Anywho, going to read some super chats. We have been going live for about an hour. I had to show y'all that. But what we will do after I read the super chats is this. Now, a lot of people don't know that Judge Sisco actually presided over another case, and that is with this crazy man here. If you're from Florida, you know who this guy is, right? I want to show you this because this is right before she gave this man his sentence, and it was not good. See, y'all know, like a few of y'all know that this is like 4 or 5 years ago. Let me just read my super chats real quick, and then we'll get to this clip. And I want you to listen to what Judge Sisco says. So again, although this motion has been filed, it is not confirmed whether it's been granted. I heard that it was denied, but again, I just want to double check before we do that. So anywho, let us read our super chats. Shout out to Miss Crow T-Shetty. She gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Miss Crow T-Shetty. We gonna need them because we protecting the wall over here. We are protecting the chatterhood over here. We gonna need those memberships. Thank you so much. And while we're at it, actually, I'll do it towards the end, but today is at the first of the month. They give creators 10 memberships to distribute. So stick around because after this clip, I will gift you guys my 10 memberships for the month. That way you have a shot at receiving one of the 10. So thank you, Miss Crow T-Shetty. If you received one from her, please say thank you. Shout out to the musical web with the 2 says congrats on 80K subs. Here's to getting 100K. We're almost there, guys. We're almost at 82, in fact. And this morning was my first time to really think post this trial. I was just working on the calendar. I have a few court calls to make sure that, like, tomorrow there's a hearing for Courtney Clenny. I want to make sure it's televised. I'm going to call the courthouse, all of that stuff. Bonnie Willis has a hearing next week. So that's going to be interesting. And then we're just getting ready for the Clenny trial. I got my eye on the Milagros and Megan Thee Stallion thing. They deposed Tory Lanez last week. So I'm just catching up on everything. I need to get into the little Dirk file to see what's going on there. ASAP Rocky and Relly is confirmed for January 12th. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a very good one. And then some of y'all have sent me some emails. So I think we're probably going to I'm going to put somebody on my team on it. I'm going to do like a case intake form. So if y'all see anything or whatever, we can start dropping it in the chat. And that way you could just fill it out and be like, yo, follow this case, check out this case, check out this, check out that. We need to make it easier for y'all to give us ideas. So thank you so much, Musical Web, and for all the people that are celebrating our milestone. The team gonna keep moving. Shout out to M Nation with the 2 says, is the judge aware of this motion? Yes, she is. She's very aware of this motion. She was likely made aware of it on Friday, right? Because it's about her. So, and her actions. So although they filed it in a court that's a little bit higher than her, as a judge, she is going to be made aware of it as well. So thank you so much, M Nation. That's a good question. Shout out to D with the 5 says, I hope Jeremy realizes he will have to see this judge again. Well, I don't know. I think Jeremy practices in Miami. I think so. I think he's like South Florida, you know? And this will not go over well. Yeah, we will see. But yeah, that IG post with the mom, I was like, I hope it ain't real, man. I really hope it's not real. Shout out to Made by Love. She sent me a super sticker. Thank you so much, sis. Hope you're having a great Monday. You had a good weekend. And you too, Perfect Peace. Thank you for the super sticker. Y'all are so nice. Mike the Mob, been with me for 4 months, says, yeah, this judge is dirty and should have been removed. I mean, many of you guys said the same thing. I'm not even going to hold you. And I did not like the way that she was talking to. It sounds like that attorney's name was Miss White. That was from the defense side. You know, even Miss Herrera, where she was just like, you know, you need to ask permission to talk or something like that. So in a way, I'm happy that the defense team stood up for themselves. Maybe not using lawn crime screenshots would have been good, but they stood up for themselves. You know, they attempted to, they tried. Shout out to Deet with the 2 says, did he mention the majority thought she was guilty? Well, no. Good catch, Deonra. No. That's why I think it was written on the 30th. I think Miss White might have written it or drafted it, and maybe Jeremy, because he was busy, signed it and filed it. Because everything seemed like it was like present tense, like it was happening the day of. We can't receive a fair trial today. But nothing about the sentence is in there. Nothing about the conclusion of the trial is in there. And remember, that stamp at the very top said October 30th, but because they have a stamp in other states, we can see what time somebody filed something. So I think it might have been done at the end. So crazy work. But thank you so much, Deonra. Shout out to Mars with the 2 says, Team trying to get Alicia a new judge so she could get 8 years. Maybe they're trying to shave it down. Maybe another judge does the sentencing. What would that look like? But that judge wasn't there for the entire trial. Now, Donna Adelson did this too. Donna Adelson wanted a motion for a new trial, and it almost always happens. Like now, I think in modern trials that are testified, Donna was like, this is not fair. The jury members went on TikTok and they started talking about the trial, even the 4-person. Judge Everett was like, if you don't get out my face and come back here for scheduling next week, you know, like that's what happened. So thank you, Mars. Shout out to Big Papa Zoe with the 5 says, this motion right here will make Sisco or the next judge give his client the hammer. That's another good point, Zoe. He should have written a letter to Sisco to go easy during yeah. You had to file it now. You could not wait. We filed it right away. So interesting. Thank you, Big Papa Zoe. D with another 2 says, you can't hide behind a keyboard anymore. Nope, they're going to come get all of y'all. You can't hide. You're going to end up in a motion. We have now seen YouTubers in these legal documents. Now y'all are in the legal documents. Be careful. Hide your kids, hide your wife. And definitely hide your kids, hide your wife from this man. All right. 6-minute clip, and then we're going to get out of here. But this gentleman had a case in front of Judge Sisco, and she gave him 3 life sentences. So what do we think Alicia's going to get? Remember, the max is 15 years. So let's watch this and see if we could pick up on any clues as far as, you know, Judge Sisco having any, patterns as far as ruling. I mean, even this guy did some egregious stuff. I'm not even gonna hold you. It was pretty bad. But let's watch.
For something I didn't do, and I am not sorry for the things I did do.
Mr. O'Neill,
All right.
Listen, stop.
All right.
Listen to me.
I'm not
going to raise your voice again.
I'm not going to raise my voice again. I'm not.
I will have you removed from this courtroom. I can sentence you without you being present.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't conduct
I
yourself.
understand, Your Honor.
Thank you.
But I will say, I'm sorry for your loss.
19 years I've been at this job. I've seen human beings killed at the hands of others in every way imaginable. You name it, I've seen it. Shootings, stabbings, drownings, suffocatings, blown apart by cars, some DUI manslaughter cases, horrible things. This is the worst case I have ever seen as far as the facts go. When the person from fire department, when he testified, and when he said that he retrieved the body of Ronivia O'Neill from the home, and all he could do was sob. It took every ounce I had not to start sobbing too. Because there is no way any person with any feeling could have witnessed or seen the photos of what occurred that night and not be haunted for the rest of your life. I know I will be. For the rest of my life, I'll be haunted by what I saw as far as the evidence and just the abject cruelty of it all. The abject cruelty. And I was aware, because I reviewed a lot of the discovery ahead of time, as you well know, did a lot of the camera inspection of a lot of documents. And I was aware there was some evidence, at least, that when you needed to recover from your gunshot wound, that neither your parents nor your Alicia, Miss Robinson, would let you come recover at their home. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not going to get into a dispute. I'm just mentioning there was some evidence referencing that in the records. And all I could think about, because I knew that Miss Barron was not with you romantically at the time. And I knew that she just out of the goodness of her heart let you come stay with her. And it is beyond tragic that that critical decision ended in so much horror for her and for her children. It is unspeakably cruel what happened as a result of that one decision. The way that Ms. Barron died was horrific, and that 911 call, which captured truly all of it. You heard, and everyone who's heard that 911 call heard a death scream. If anybody ever wants to know what it sounds like before a human being dies, knowing that their death is imminent, that's exactly what it is. That was a death scream.
We're going to see if it's true.
But what happened to little Ronivia and to little Ronnie, but I'm going to focus on Ronivia, because she was special. And you can tell Miss Barron had done everything she could to create a beautiful home for her family. I noticed that the Ronivia's bedroom, before you set it on fire, you could tell she tried so hard to make her feel like a princess. Kenyatta did everything she could. And I noticed too in the kitchen on the refrigerator, she put.
Yeah, so if you guys hadn't seen this, I'm just pulling old footage of the same judge, Judge Sisco, for other cases that she's dealt with. And she did this Ronnie O'Neill case. Like, this guy is tapped. Like oh, I didn't mean to hit that button. I meant to hit this one. I say tapped in a way where he did something super egregious, like he killed his girl and a kid, right? And another kid watched. And then he came to this court and represented himself in the proceedings, right? So it was a really sad situation, but Judge Sisco reveals a little bit more about her personality here. So that's, it's a quick clip, but I just wanted you guys to get an understanding of who she is and how she sentences. But this case is very special. It's different because it's a unique circumstance where, you have the killing of two people.
Put up magnets that said faith, love, family, hope. And then you know what else happened at the refrigerator during that night? It got splattered with blood all over it due to what happened. Little Ronivia, she couldn't scream, she couldn't run away, and she witnessed what you did to her mother as far as shooting her mother in the arm with the gunshot. She knew. And the horror that that child suffered. And she already had a life where she was born with challenges regarding her physical and her mental disabilities. But the pain and suffering that she suffered that night at your hands, unspeakable. absolutely unspeakable. And at the moment, that first time you struck her with that hatchet, and little Ronnie testified that all he could see was tears coming out of his sister's face. At that moment, that child knew she was being betrayed in the cruelest, most tragic and sorrowful way that a child could ever be betrayed. She was being betrayed by her parent, the one person that should be there to protect their children and love them and keep them from harm. And that was the last thing that child felt before she passed on from this earth, was your utter, cruel betrayal to her. And I read somewhere, and I don't know if it's true or not, I have no idea, but I read somewhere that souls pick their lives, and that they know exactly how difficult their lives are going to be before they enter into this world. And I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, Ranivia O'Neill is one of the bravest souls I have ever come across in my 54 years on this planet. One of the bravest ever, ever, because she suffered so traumatically.
So that's the same judge. That's the same judge. I mean, that's what she just said to this man before he got his very, very long life sentences, right? So we know she doesn't play games. She doesn't. She did not give them some opportunities for sidebars. She did not give them an opportunity to cross-examine a few people. A lot of people are looking at it like, okay, she wasn't fair to the defense. But I mean, when you look at her track record, something like that, where she's showing some really good strengths as a judge with sentencing. Judges have different strengths. Maybe one of her strengths is when she reviews the totality of circumstances, looking at stopping crime and giving people different sentences. So for everybody that's coming in, we're just about done. So y'all are all late. But I just read a motion. I'm gonna, of course, you guys know I like to put everything in chapters. I will chapter this up for you. You missed two big things. One, it is alleged that Jeremy posted a Young and Ace song after the verdict, right? It is alleged. So you can go back and rewind and look at that on Instagram. The second thing is Jeremy filed a motion to disqualify the judge. I have not verified yet. I've verified that this motion is factual, but I walked through all 46 pages of it where they have snapped screenshots of YouTube chats. I mean, YouTube chats, right? So we have all of that. And again, shout out to Julio's mom. She was not happy when she heard that Jeremy might have posted it. She was just like, that is really unprofessional as a Black lawyer, but also it just shows who you are as a person. Again, I'm one of those people, I like to verify things before we say anything, but if that is the case, not okay. So we'll see. Sentencing is on December 1st. We will likely be back tomorrow. I need to call the Miami courthouse to make sure that this hearing is going to be streaming tomorrow. But we're transitioning to the Courtney Clenny case. That's the next one. And then Fonnie Willis has a hearing next week. That's going to be big too. So me and my team are regrouping, getting everything organized and ready for y'all as we get ready for the next few weeks. Q1 is going to be crazy busy. I mean, even with just ASAP Rocky and Relly, we've got videos to do on that. But let me tell you about the hearing for tomorrow for Courtney Clenny. She has applied for bond. This is second-degree murder. OnlyFans girl that killed her boyfriend, Christian Openselli. That's my channel's focus for the next 3-4 weeks. She threw a knife. She says she flung a knife at him because he was charging at her. It hit an artery and he died. Right. She also took a very long time to call 911. She called her mom instead. Anyway, she has been denied bond like twice. So tomorrow's hearing is a pre-trial hearing because the trial is scheduled for December 8th, tentatively, but we'll see if this judge gives her bond. I doubt it. I'm just going to call it right now. I doubt it. I mean, unless you have anything that's new and pressing and jarring, Courtney, you ain't getting out of jail. You ain't getting out. You're just gonna be in there. So we have that one. But yeah, this ASAP Rocky and Relly thing is round 2. We did the criminal trial at the start of the year with Joe Tacopina. And Tacopina is actually a defendant on this side. So Relly is suing Rocky and Tacopina, right? So that's the lawsuit that we're going to see in January. We have a hard date on that one for January 12th. And then we are monitoring the Little Dirk situation. That one is federal. So unfortunately, it won't be televised, but we're still following that. And then Megan Thee Stallion. And I'm monitoring that situation as well with Milagros. That's a civil trial. So it's likely that it could be televised. Tory Lanez got deposed last week. So you see how many things I have to catch up on. But anyway, I definitely wanted to pop on in here and show you guys what was going on with this case as we wrap it up. As soon as I thought I was done, I'm like, nope, we're not done. We're not done. Shout out to Mars, last minute super chat here with the 2 says you can tell the judge is an empath and ADA at heart. Yeah, I want to look into more of her background, but I'm very curious to see how she's going to sentence Alicia. There is an underlying gun charge wrapped into this as well. So we'll see how she does this, you know? Anyway, let me shut down the poll. Thank you guys for voting. We have 1,600 votes. The question of the day is, was Judge Sisco's biased? Was she Sisco? I can't talk today. Was Judge Sisco biased towards the defense? 55% of you said yes. 27% of you said no. 19% of you said maybe, but the defense wasn't the best. So still doesn't change anything, right? I'll keep you posted on all of this. It is 3:47 Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to get back to work over here and bring you guys great content throughout the week, this week, next few months, all of that great stuff. If you have not checked out the verdict video that we did on Saturday, that is our latest upload. You'll love it. 10 minutes, super quick. And we talk about manslaughter, why Alicia got that compared to second degree or first degree. All right, chat. I'm going to get out of here. See you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Bye.